Heliocentrism, the theory of the Earth orbiting the Sun, forms the basis of modern physics. The theory is accepted today as fact. However, only a few centuries ago, the theory was blasphemy to the Christian church and thus brutally oppressed. Galileo Galilei was a leading scientist punished by the church, placed under house arrest, yet his science did not stop. In fact, in 1991, noted academic Charles Van Doren made the compelling argument that the scientific revolution we know as the Copernican revolution is in reality the Galilean revolution, given the impact of Galileo's insistence on science above all else. Each of us has a different vision of what true leadership is. Some may judge highly on intellectual leaders, while others on emotional ones. John C. Maxwell, an American writer and speaker, said, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Let's test this theory on leadership in the most scientific way possible, by using the scientific method and looking at scientific examples. Step 1. Formulate a question. What is true leadership? Step 2. Hypothesis. I theorize that Maxwell's maxim on leadership, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way, is correct. Step 3. Testing. Let's put this maxim to the test. Sir Isaac Newton, the fellow with a bump on his head, decided to push a needle into his eye socket and pressed it to change the eye's curvature. This successful experiment allowed him to progress on his work on the nature of light, and he was also apparently successful in making you squirm long after his death. Much of what we know about radioactivity is because of Marie Curie. She actually coined the term radioactivity, discovered elements radium and polonium, and pioneered medical treatments using radiation. Despite the harm to herself in working around these radioactive materials, she kept going. She felt her work was too important, and this dedication led to even more medical discoveries. What a glowing legacy. Sir Henry Head, a fellow with a physician at the London Hospital, was famous for his work on the human nervous system. So committed to science, he operated on his own arm during an investigation to see if our senses change when nerves are cut and left to regenerate. The experiment was successful, and from it he found out that sensations do change. Alas, the ability to arm me with puns remains undeterred. Step 4. Analysis. It's time to look at the results. Now, you may be saying to yourself, "Hey Jay, how is this relevant to leadership?" To which I would like to respond thusly. First, thanks for knowing my name, but secondly, these people exhibited evidence to support Maxwell's axiom on leadership. Step 1. A leader knows the way? Yes, they were so sure that they used themselves as test subjects, which is the second step of goes the way. And the impact of the published work has forever altered our understanding of light, radioactivity, and nerves respectively. I suppose you could say that these leaders had the nerve to enlighten us with the scientific inquiry. Step 5. Verification. Sure, everything seems to be going very well, but we need to verify the results by what else but more tests. Let's test this all on a larger scale, looking at a group of scientists. The Doomsday Clock, in addition to being simultaneously the creepiest and the coolest name clock ever, is a symbolic clock that began in 1947 via the Union of Concerned Scientists. This group, the UCS, felt it could not sit idly by only studying the atom when they knew just how destructive the power of the atom could be. So, it announces when a clock moves closer to or farther from midnight, based on the peril our planet is in. Beginning in 2007, the group cited climate change as yet another factor leading to the possible destruction of life as we know it. Once again, Maxwell's maxim seems to apply. The Union of Concerned Scientists knew the problem, nuclear war, and even expanded the threats to humanity to include climate change. Then, the UCS satisfied the second step, to act on the problem. They did so through a rigorous analysis of data and the admission that not sharing that information would be folly. Finally, they satisfied the third step by informing others of the problems the world encounters today. The Doomsday Clock now stands 5 minutes to midnight. I believe I just saw Cinderella grab a few endangered species on the way out. Step 6. Application. This maxim, knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way, extends beyond the field of science. A president does this not just by going to war, but by choosing not to go to war. An athlete does this by passing the ball to someone with a better chance of scoring. A CEO, no customer satisfaction is number 1. And you, You can all apply this yourself. We all have an area of expertise. Know the way, go the way, and show the way. Step 7, conclusion. Science is leadership. I will say that again. Science is leadership. I showed you how some scientists were leaders and how science is a leading issue. But really, it is science that is leadership. The scientific method was used in this very speech to understand what true leadership is. The competition posed the question of identifying leadership. The hypothesis to test was that a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. We experimented outside of traditional models of leadership and analyzed the results. Pleasantly, we arrived at not one, but 3 conclusions. First, miso punny. Second, Maxwell was right. And third, science is leadership. Thank you. Well, I believe when you know the way, you don't necessarily have to be older. If you know the way, you just do. And let's take an example. Martin Luther King. He wasn't particularly the oldest of the bunch, but still he knew the way. He knew something had to change concerning the civil rights movement in America. And he went the way. And still, he's not the most experienced and the oldest member in the civil rights movement. Yet, he went the way. He was probably one of the greatest activists we know today, for obvious reasons. And thirdly, he showed the way, again satisfying the requirement of Maxwell's maxim. And he showed the way by actually telling others of the problems we have today. He didn't only just act on the problem, he showed others what's the problem, and he actually enforced others to act and encouraged them that things must change and we need to be part of that change.